Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Special Explainer. You know, have you ever actually stopped to think about how early humans knew exactly when to plant their crops or when it was time to harvest, way before the invention of the calendar? Today, we're going to explore a seriously mind-bending concept, a world completely without time as we know it. I mean, no dates, no months, no weeks, yet somehow they knew exactly how to navigate their lives. So get ready, because what we are about to uncover might literally change the way you think about time itself.
I want you to just take a second and imagine a world where January 1st, the year 1, just hasn't happened yet. Imagine a reality with absolutely no dates, no digital clocks ticking on your wrist, and definitely no New Year's Eve fireworks celebrations. You don't know what day of the week it is, you don't even know when your birthday is. How on earth do you know when to meet someone or when to throw a festival? It sounds incredibly chaotic, right?
All right, let's get into section 1, ancient time without clocks.
So, despite lacking literally all the modern tools we rely on today, early humans actually functioned incredibly well. Life didn't just stop because they couldn't look at a calendar. These early human societies were highly organized. Farmers perfectly managed agriculture, planting seeds at the exact right moment. Leaders made these complex future plans, and armies? They even scheduled specific, strategically chosen days to go to war. They definitely didn't have smartwatches, but they absolutely knew which periods were critical and which were dangerous.
So what was their big secret? Did they have some kind of lost mystical knowledge? Well, sort of. But the secret was simply nature. The very first humans read the language of time just by looking up. They watched the changing shapes of the moon, the shifting path of the sun, and the positions of the stars at night. In those days, time wasn't something you just read as a number on a dial. It was something you physically felt and observed in the world around you.
Moving on to section 2, ancient stone time machines.
Now, relying purely on observation wasn't quite enough as these societies grew. Humans realized they needed to actually trap time, and that led to literal time machines. But, long before the era of cogs and metal pocket watches. Ancient civilizations built these massive structures using the earth itself. They erected huge stones and carved intricate lines into the ground, specifically designed to catch the sun's rays at precise angles. The changing shadows cast by these massive stones essentially became humanity's very first reliable clocks.
Take the structure of Stonehenge in England, for example. It might just seem like a random pile of massive rocks, but it is actually a highly accurate scientific calendar. Every single year, on June 21st, the sun rises perfectly straight through the center stones. And then, on December 21st, it sets in that exact same spot. In fact, a 2022 study revealed that these stones acted as solar watchmen, tracking specific days and even weeks. It wasn't just old masonry, it was literally a massive solar computer.
And hey, this kind of genius absolutely wasn't limited to England. Let's travel over to India and think about the incredible technical specs of the Konark Sun Temple in Odisha. A lot of people thought it was just a place of worship, but it was actually an ancient time machine too. Think about this. The temple's designed exactly like a chariot with 12 massive stone wheels, representing the 12 months of the year. Each of those wheels has 8 spokes, which precisely track the 8 parts, or prohars, of the ancient day. Just by looking at exactly where the sun's shadow fell on these spokes, people knew the exact time way before mechanical clocks even existed. It is pure science, beautifully carved into art.
Which brings us to section 3, the battle of moon and sun.
You see, tracking time wasn't just about shadows. A massive rivalry actually emerged between our two biggest celestial bodies. Early civilizations kind of had to choose a champion. Now, the moon goes through this beautiful, highly visible cycle from crescent to full and back to dark, taking roughly 29 days. It was incredibly easy to track visually, which led to the first lunar calendars. On the flip side, the sun was steady, fixed, and highly predictable, taking 365 days for a full cycle. Major powers like the Egyptians and Romans favored that reliability of the sun, so they adopted the solar calendar.
And the really incredible thing is, this ancient celestial battle still completely defines our lives today. The lunar calendar became the true heartbeat of society, religion, and culture. Even right now, major festivals like Eid, Diwali, and Buddha Purnima, not to mention weddings and agricultural cycles, are determined by the moon. Meanwhile, the solar calendar became the absolute engine for modern administration, global science, and the technology that runs our daily schedules.
So which one is actually better? The 29-day moon or the 365-day sun? Well, ancient scholars from the Indian subcontinent came up with a brilliant way to solve that exact problem. They created a mathematical compromise, the Luni-Solar calendar.
To keep the moon and sun perfectly aligned, this genius hybrid system simply adds an entire extra month every 32 to 33 months. It's just a spectacular synchronization of astronomy and mathematics, allowing cultural lunar traditions to stay perfectly in tune with the solar seasons.
Let's dive into Section 4, 10 days vanished from the calendar.
Even with all that brilliant ancient math, human attempts to control time weren't perfect. In fact, it led to a crazy historical glitch where 10 whole days literally just vanished. The story of our modern calendar starts right here, in the year 46 BC. The Roman calendar at the time was an absolute mess. I mean, harvests weren't matching the seasons, and religious events were completely out of whack. So Emperor Julius Caesar stepped in. He introduced the Julian calendar, setting a fixed 365 days with a leap year every 4 years. This system eventually set the starting line at 1 AD, though interestingly enough, history shows Jesus was actually born 4 to 6 years before that year 1 mark.
Now, Caesar's calendar was a massive improvement, but it had a tiny, almost invisible flaw. Let's do the math real quick. The Julian calendar was exactly 11 minutes longer than the Earth's actual solar movement around the sun. Just 11 minutes. It doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But think about what happens when you compound an 11-minute mistake every single year for over 1,500 years. You get exactly 10 days. 10 whole days. By the year 1582, the calendar was completely detached from reality by a full 10 days. Spring equinoxes and crucial religious festivals were happening at completely the wrong times. Time was, for all intents and purposes, officially broken.
So, Pope Gregory XIII had to take some seriously drastic measures. Just walk through this historical timeline with me for a second, because it is absolutely mind-blowing. On Thursday, October 4th, 1582, people went to sleep, and while they slept, the Pope literally erased 10 days from human history. When everyone woke up the very next morning, it wasn't October 5th, it was Friday, October 15th. The new Gregorian calendar had officially begun, and it's the exact same calendar the entire modern world still uses today to celebrate January 1st.
All right, moving to Section 5, the true language of time. It's kind of wild to think that dates can be so easily manipulated by emperors and popes, isn't it? So what actually is the true language of time? Well, it really isn't about the numbers printed on a page. It's deeply tethered to the physical cosmic clockwork. Think about it. 1 day is really just the Earth spinning once on its axis. 1 month is just the moon taking a lap around the Earth. 1 year is the Earth taking a lap around the sun, taking exactly 365.25 days. And that pesky 0.25 is exactly why we have to add a leap year every 4 years. It's just to keep our human math somewhat aligned with the undeniable reality of the universe.
The ancient sages, they understood this perfectly. They observed the universe with their bare eyes and felt time as a living, breathing experience, not just as, data on a smartwatch screen. There's a really beautiful thought about this. Time is like a river, flowing quietly at its own pace. We just stand on the bank and try to trap it with clock hands. The year 0001 wasn't actually the beginning of time. It was really just the moment humans arrogantly decided to start trying to print time onto paper.
In the eyes of nature, time is just an endless, continuous cycle. The true language of time is still hidden right up there in the path of the sun, the phases of the moon, and honestly, the beating of our own hearts, which leaves us with one of the most profound questions we can ask ourselves. Did time ever really start? And will it ever actually end? Or are beginnings and endings just artificial markers we created to somehow make sense of infinity?
I really want to know what you guys think about this. Drop down into the comments right now and tell me, is time just a human illusion, or is it a physical reality we are just surfing along? Let's get a discussion going down there. If this explainer changed your perspective on the clock ticking on your wall right now, make sure you hit that like button. And for sure, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more fascinating deep dives just like this one. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.